closest to Christmas, which is a little scary, and there's the help available. So just when you think about our mission statement, all places have mission statements, but some key points in ours really sum up what you will be learning over the next 2 trimesters or 2 years, whichever course you're in, and that's how to build both critical thinking and relational skills, underpinned by very much a real-world experiential practice. So whichever course you're signing up for, we do make sure that you get lots of hands-on experience in the Masters, culminating in the two trimester placement. And you'll learn to not only learn theories, but apply them in a real-world way. But on this, the very start of your journey, the things that you need to really focus on for next week, where are my classes? And for you, your initial classes are online via a Zoom link. So you will look in your class space and you'll see that your first lecture is in week 1. There is a Zoom link for that. And your first tutorial is in week 2. As soon as you get access to the class space, have a look at that. See where the Zoom links are. Test that you've got access. Make sure that Zoom isn't going to do a sudden update just when you want to join a tutorial. Just be really familiar with your class space so you don't have that last minute panic, especially given a lot of our tutorials are in the evening for postgraduate students. So you don't want to have that moment of who can I contact? What can I do because I can't get in. Also work out when your classes are. Look at your timetable. You've got a lecture, as I said, in week 1, a tutorial in week 2. When is your workshop? If you're enrolled in COUN 5131 or 5141, your workshop will be in week 3. So make sure you're prepared for that. You know which campus you have to go on. And most importantly of all, which really supersedes both of the previous 2 points, work out who you can ask if you're unsure. There's a student engagement team. You can put questions in the chat now. You've got email addresses to contact. You've got a unit coordinator. The main thing is, who can you ask? And ask. Don't be left guessing. So some of the things that it would really benefit you to become familiar with. Who is your unit coordinator? Look in your unit outline, you'll see a name there. Who is your tutor? That will be in the class space with the Zoom link. Work out what is your delivery structure, and I will describe hybrid learning and online to you shortly. Work out what you have to attend. There is mandatory attendance to meet our accreditation requirements, and I'll explain that. You do need to get a criminal record check in the first trimester of study. If you've got any questions about that, ask the student engagement team or put a question in chat now. Placement occurs in the last 2 trimesters of the Masters. There's no placement for the grad cert, but given the Masters is a 2-year course full-time, it's going to come around very quickly. So start looking into that. There's part on our website. You can get a whole section devoted to placement. We've got a whole team devoted to placement. Right from day 1, start skills practicing. This is an experiential course. Counselling is an experiential profession. You are working with people. So practice your skills, take every opportunity you get right from week 1. The Learning Hub, Tricia will be talking about that shortly, but the Learning Hub is where you can find every possible thing you could need to assist you on your learning journey, your assessments, referencing, everything you could want to get you used to being a student and get you through the rest of the course. We do have counselling support for students because we recognise that our students, they're motivated to study, but they also have a lot going on in your life. Postgrad students are often what we call mature age students, which basically means they have a lot. Work, family, children, parents, a lot going on. So, and especially around assessment time, that can be a lot. Also, counselling is very much makes you think about yourself quite a bit, because in order to counsel people, you have to know yourself. And the very first units do focus a lot on self-awareness, and you learn a lot about yourself, and sometimes you may need to think, well, I need to talk that through. Our educators are exactly that, to teach you. Counselling support is for other things. Work out your commitments, work commitments, family commitments, and balance that with study commitments, assessment commitments. Units have 2 major assessments a trimester, worth 50% each. So check out the dates and what you need to do for those. That will determine really your life for the next 12 or 13 weeks. And focus on your mental health and well-being. In the code of ethics for counsellors, it is actually an ethical obligation to make sure you look after yourself, look after your well-being, because as you can imagine, a counsellor who is burnt out loses their empathy, loses their ability to care, and can actually damage clients quite a lot. So that's why it's in our ethics, you shall look after yourself. So start practicing that as a student. There is a whole community to support you through your learning. Your other students, get to know students doing your course. You will find when you graduate, it'll be great to have a network of people you studied with who know what counselling is all about, who know how hard it can be. Counselling is a profession where you can't go home and complain to the family or to friends about the client that you just had, because you're bound by confidentiality. So you do have clinical supervisors, but it's really good to have a network of people who know exactly what's involved in the profession you've chosen. Your academic teachers, crucial to your journey, as are the academic skills advisors and the Learning Hub. Library, check out the library, the online resources, the databases. Pretty well all of your textbooks are available as ebooks, and as are your readings. Let your at home, your friends, your work colleagues, community, just let them know that study is a job. So even though you might be sitting at home, you will be working on your assessments or whatever. You're not really available just to drop everything and go and get a cup of coffee, although that's very necessary at times. But you do just let them know that you'll need a bit of space to do your studies. So, key contacts: your unit coordinator or your tutor. Anything academic, really important you start with them. They will know everything about your course. In terms of course coordinators for the grad cert, Resh, who also teaches 5151 in the grad cert, and anything to do with the masters, me. So just a quick course summary, and we do also have another grad cert. It's online and it's purely to do with wellbeing in schools, 4 units over 2 trimesters, and very much focused on people working in the education system who may want to increase their skills in a number of areas. But I'm guessing most of you here today are for the grad certificate of counselling, and that's for people who have an undergrad degree, but it's not what we call a cognate degree. So they may want to study in the masters but not eligible, so enter via the grad cert. And masters, people going straight into the masters do have that cognate degree. Doing the grad cert doesn't mean you're disadvantaged and you take longer to do your course, because you do get credit for those units. So the grad cert, very much not theoretical and ethical, but that application, the experiential component. All 4 units, there's a counselling skills unit, a counselling theories unit, a diversity unit, and an ethics unit. They all have a practical component. And they're available by hybrid blended, which I will describe shortly. If you're studying full-time, you can have it done in 2 trimesters and allow about 9 to 12 hours per week, and that's inclusive of class attendance. Masters, 2 years full-time study, 16 units, and a 240-hour student placement. Similar to the grad cert, we recommend 9 to 12 hours per week, and that's some weeks you may find there's a wee bit more, especially assessment weeks, but that's balanced by other weeks where not so much. And that's an advanced level of counselling and psychotherapy, which is why you need anyone who doesn't have that cognate background starts with the grad cert, which is nested within it. So, hybrid blended, it's exactly as it says, it's a blend of synchronous lectures and tutorials via Zoom and 1 2-day face-to-face workshop per unit, scheduled throughout the trimester, and you know the date of that in advance. The very first unit, 5131 in the grad cert, 6103 in the masters. The workshops are in week 3, so you get to know your cohort very quickly. The lectures are 1 hour fortnightly, so next week you will hopefully attend your lecture. It's live streamed, but if for any reason you can't, you listen to the recording before the tutorial, which is in week 2. You do need to attend tutorials in week 2, 4, 6, 9, 11 and 13, and the lectures are in weeks 1, 3, 5, 8, 10 and 12. Attendance isn't mandatory at the lectures. You do need to attend the workshop. The elective units in the masters have online workshops, 2-day online workshops, but all the core units in both the masters and the grad cert have face-to-face units, workshops on your local campus. So what does online mean? There is 1 unit in the masters, the atypical lifespan development unit, and that has weekly recorded lectures and for 1 hour and weekly drop-in sessions. What that means is that the unit coordinator is there at a designated time every week. You can drop in if you choose to. You don't have to turn up every week. If you've got questions, you can turn up. But really good opportunity to ask those questions, just to touch base. And the way that attendance is monitored in these online units, there are what we call weekly inquiry tasks, where every week you do a different task, upload it to the teaching space, and you need to do at least 10 of them just to demonstrate participation and engagement. So attendance does matter. It's an accreditation requirement of the courses, and that's also fundamental to a profession like counselling. You can't do it all online via books. Yes, there's theory, but you have to put that theory into practice, and that is why attendance is so important. Now, in the hybrid blended, that's the one with the 6 online tutorials. If you miss one, make sure you listen to the tutorial. All tutorials are recorded, and just do any activities, do the readings. If you miss 2, again, listen to the tutorial, but contact your unit coordinator who will give you a make-up task for that. And then once you've done that, your attendance is marked as present. If you miss 3, which is half the tutorial attendance, contact your unit coordinator, and we need to work out how you're going to make up that attendance to meet the accreditation requirements. So we work with you one-on-one to find a way to make that work. With the workshop, if you miss up to 3 hours, you complete a makeup task. There's 16 hours across the 2 days, and usually the makeup task is just what you missed, whatever activity you missed. If you miss more than 3 hours, you will need to attend a makeup workshop, apply to attend that. The main thing is keep in touch with your unit coordinator. It's not punitive. We support you to make sure that you meet your attendance requirements and therefore meet the accreditation requirements. Clinical placement, and when you get to that, you have clinical supervision every week. You do have to attend every clinical supervision group. That's 100% attendance. If you're sick, and of course that happens, we offer a makeup clinical supervision. Absolutely essential because you are on field placement and you have to have clinical supervision while you're on field placement. Every unit has assessments. As soon as you get hold of your unit outline, no doubt you will open it immediately to the assessments and see exactly what you need to be doing for the next 13 weeks. But just a few tips. Make sure you understand the requirements, and if you don't understand, ask. The reason that's important is that we write the instructions. What may be perfectly clear to our unit coordinators is not so clear. We don't know that until you tell us and say, look, whatever that is, it doesn't make sense, or probably makes sense, but not clear enough. So the minute we get your feedback, we can do something about it. So tell us if anything isn't clear to you. Let your tutor know, let your unit coordinator know. Listen and read everything that's said about your assessment. You'll find there's tips in the teaching space. It might be a scaffold for some assessments. Take it all in, ask questions. Don't be late because there are late penalties that I'll talk about in a moment. Work with student skills advisors, and Tricia will tell you all about that in a moment as well. Check Turnitin, which is a way of looking at what we call a similarity score. You may not have paraphrased enough, may not have referenced enough. So again, use that to just make sure your work is original, and your tutors and Tricia's team will be able to help you with that. And take advantage of feedback given on your assessments. You will get a lot of feedback. It's not punitive, it's not meant to criticize you. It's actually constructive feedback to let you know perhaps areas that you need to strengthen, ways that you could strengthen it, so that moving forward, you just get better and better at what you're doing. We do offer a 7-day extension that you apply for yourself. You don't need supporting document. You click a button. Now, you do need to make sure you submit that before the assessment deadline. You will find a lot of assessments are due at 4 p.m. on a Monday. You can apply right up to 1 minute before 4 p.m. and get the extension. If you apply 1 minute after, unfortunately, it will be locked and you'll have to submit a whole lot of paperwork to get an extension. It's really valuable and important because an assessment that is weighted at 50%, every day you're late, you lose 2.5 marks. So don't lose marks for nothing. If things are going wrong, for whatever reason, if you need an extension, apply for it. If we reach 10 calendar days after the assessment was due and there's no extension, assessment's not accepted because you have in effect lost. You can't pass it. Over to Tricia now. It always gives me a shock when I get to that slide. I should.
There's no warning that it's coming up.
Oh, no.
It just kind of pops up.
All right, thanks, Tricia.
Hi everybody, and thank you for letting me talk to this group for kids. So you may or may not be aware that the Learning Hub is essentially another class space that you can access from your class space. You can see off to the right there, you can take a tour of the Learning Hub. There's a little video there. But if you click on the big orange tile, it takes you to another class space. It sits alongside your unit class spaces. And this is really, it's the second iteration of this class space. We've tried to streamline it, make it much simpler for you to access all of the core supports that you will potentially need throughout your course. So that includes access to us, your academic skills advisors, so we can come alongside your educators and help you implement your assessments. So not with the content, but with the how-tos. How do I write an essay? How do I write a literature review, a case study, a report, or whatever the type of assignment might be? We can give you a lot of the skills to enhance your academic skills in order to achieve the grades that you want to achieve moving forward with your sort of academia. You can also get direct links there to the library, to booking appointments with us, with the library, with accessibility, with a counsellor, booking in for our webinars and workshops. We run both online and on-campus events throughout the trimester. So you can keep up to date with that here, and also in your calendar, in your student portal, you'll see those upcoming events coming up. That sounds terrible grammar. It's late in the day, you'll have to forgive me. The other thing you'll see there is a tile that's dedicated to, it says study with peers. The postgraduate counselling units doesn't have peer-assisted study sessions, but I do highly recommend that you find yourself a study buddy, because it can make things a lot better when you have someone else to kind of bounce things off and go, oh, how are you going with your unit? And what are you getting out of it? And keeping each other accountable, keeping each other on track throughout the trimester, and checking in with each other and making sure that you're on task and progressing well. Sometimes it's helpful to have that in the back of your mind that someone's going to be asking you, where you're at and how you're going, and coming alongside you. You'll get these slides, and you'll see on this particular slide there is a link there to our email address. It's really easy, learninghub@acap.edu.au. And we also, if you go into the Learning Hub in the class space, there's a link to our online booking system. So it's really easy to book an appointment with one of us. You get 3 appointments per trimester, so that can be either face-to-face if you prefer to go on campus in Melbourne, Sydney or Brisbane, or if you're elsewhere, if you're in Adelaide or Perth, for example, you can book an appointment online with any of our national academic skills advisors. And there's also just so many resources available. I don't have time to tell you where they all are or what they all are, but once you get access to your class space, look around, see what's out there and what's available, and feel free to drop us an email if there's something in particular you're looking for. Then we're more than happy to help. You'll also see in that image off to the right hand side, there's a button for Studiosity, which you'll learn more about in your general orientation. So make sure you go to your general orientation as well. Don't know if there's another slide in this deck. Is there, Vicky? Yes, there is. Okay, so one of those tiles is just showing you really quickest, easiest way to book in for our webinars and workshops. This is a big part of our trimester program. We get, well over 1,000 students register for our webinars alone, if it's not even counting our workshops for the trimester. And even if you don't have time, go ahead and look at our program, register for things if it could interest you. The first 3 weeks is really about developing those core academic writing skills that every student needs to have. We then move into academic integrity, and we then move into very genre-specific types of writing in week 5. We have a break for week 6, 7 and 8 because everybody's busy doing their assignments. And then in week 9, we push on for those final assessments. Now, perhaps you've been away from academic writing for quite a long time, and you'll know notice that sort of everything's changed and you sort of need a bit of a refresher, or maybe APA referencing is new to you and that's something you need to get across. We're using APA 7th edition. Maybe previously you didn't use 7th edition. There's been a few changes since the 5th or even the 6th edition of APA. So that might be something you need to brush up on as well. So, while academic writing may not be completely new to you, it may be something that you need to enhance at this point in your academia, and we are definitely here to support you. Even though you're embarking on postgraduate work, you can always enhance your academic writing, or you may come across a type of assessment that you haven't encountered before, and you need a little bit of extra, someone to bounce the ideas off or have a conversation with, or know where to find some resources that could potentially, give you that extra edge, take you from a pass to a credit or a credit to a distinction, depending on what your aims are throughout the trimester. I think that's it. Thanks, Vicky.
Thanks, Tricia.
Yep, don't need that one.
Yeah, forget. All right. And I can't stress how invaluable Tricia and her team are for students. But you will find that out as you go through your course. So I'm just going to talk very briefly about student placement and the clinical supervision units. It'll come around quickly because it is a 2-year course, but you'll find we have a lot of placements available. We've got a placement team dedicated to helping you find a placement. And while we have a lot of placements on our database, you still need to present yourself with a CV and the likes. We support you with that. And our students all get placements, 2 trimesters. If you work full time, you'll need to think about how you're going to balance that, because you will need to do a placement around about 2 days a week across 2 trimesters, which is almost 7 months. Some of our students discuss with their workplace, perhaps save up annual leave or something, but the placement is an essential component for you to graduate. It's also a great opportunity. You've been practicing with other students, you've been non-stop triads and the likes. You finally get to work with real people. That's important because it is a whole different experience. You will need to get a counselling, a national criminal history check in your first trimester of study. If you've got questions about that, the student engagement team can help you with the specifics. And just to briefly mention, like all educational institutions, we have quite a few policies. Some of the important ones that I want to raise your awareness of, what we call our academic misconduct policy, and that's very much to ensure that students are meeting the conventions of academia. Most of what we come across is accidental, and that just means a student hasn't paraphrased enough, hasn't acknowledged where they got their information from. So this is where both your unit coordinator, your tutor, and more importantly, Tricia and the academic advisor team, they can really help you with that, with how to write academically, how to reference academically. But where we find instances of perhaps unethical use of things like GAI, plagiarism, just copying things off websites or the likes, and we do investigate and we do follow the policy on that area. We also have a code of conduct, a student code of conduct, and that just details how we expect our students to, just how to behave, which very important as students, but also very important as counsellors in training. So we do remind students of that if necessary. It doesn't happen often, but there is a policy in place, which then leads, if it progresses, leads into what we call the student non-academic misconduct. And it's unacceptable or improper behaviour on the part of a student, and not just in the face-to-face, but it can occur social media and online. So just be aware of that too, and that's to look after our academics, our other students, and just maintain the reputation of the college. We also have a sexual assault, harassment prevention and response policy, as is essential across all businesses, education institutions, and a very important policy to make sure that we are offering a safe and inclusive environment. In terms of, that should read graduate certificate, my apologies. In terms of graduate outcomes, from the graduate certificate of counselling is not accredited, so it teaches you skills that you can use in a range of occupations and allows you entry into the Masters of Counselling if you want to progress. Masters of Counselling and Psychotherapy, once you graduate, you are qualified as a counsellor to work in public, private and community sectors. These are some of the areas that our graduates work in, and these are some of the places that we've sent our students have found jobs. As you can see, a very wide range of different places and a wide range of clientele, demographic groups that our students work with. But overall, you're embarking on quite a lifestyle change. You're becoming a student, probably as well as a worker, a parent, part of a family, friends, other commitments. Make the most of it. Make the most of your studies. Use all the resources that we offer. Be what we call an active learner and be inquisitive. Join in all the discussions, the activities, make use of resources, the academic advisors, and just enjoy your studies. Make the most of it. But you probably have questions because that was a lot of information. You will receive a copy of these slides, but in the meantime, are there any questions in the chat that I can answer?
So there's one that's come in around if there's any support or guidance on how to find a job when you graduate. So what I will just say is if you haven't been to your general orientation yet, we would encourage you to come to that because we'll do a tour of the portal. So we've just launched an employability toolkit, which we'll look at as part of that session. It's on the homepage of your portal, so you can go in and have a look, but there's lots of resources and support there. And we're continually adding to that area as well. So it's ever changing, but yes, so we do provide that support, just to answer that question.
Yeah, and going out on placement, it's a start to start networking. You're out in the field and you get to know the agency you're working in, but what else is out there. So by the end of your course, and with the employability kit that Jess just mentioned, there's lots of resources. We also have an alumni group, whatever you call it. So once you graduate, you have access to all the alumni things we offer, which again helps with just seeing what's out there. Any more questions?
The questions that have come in are quite specific to the students' enrollment. There is one. So what would be the biggest tips in preparing ourselves in the lead up to commencing our grad set? Is there any online Facebook space for us to connect with others if we are studying from home?
So tips. Do you mean this week, join in any orientation sessions that there are, join any webinars that academic advisors are offering, check out your learning space as soon as you get access to it, look at the readings, and then once next week starts, you'll see who other students are, linking with other students. You're welcome to find you might find students in the same area as you. You may want to meet up. Campuses, if you're near a campus, you can meet up on campuses, form little skills practice groups. So it's really wide open to you to make the most of it. But everything starts next week. This week is prep week with all the webinars and the likes. But really good question and shows you're keen to get started.
Couple more questions. So in terms of finding the readings on the portal, so again, if you aren't able to come to a general session this week where we do the demo of the portal and the class spaces, we'll send you the recordings on Friday this week, so you've got them before next week when classes commence. But there's the weeks are broken down in the unit class spaces, so it's really easy to navigate, right, Vicky, in terms of finding those readings.
Yeah, everything's easy. There's links to them, and you can ask your tutor or your unit coordinator. But most of the books, as I mentioned before, are available as ebooks, and if you have to read a particular chapter, that's linked. So everything is there. Once you see the class space, it's designed for ease of access.
Perfect. Question regarding placements. Is placement at the end of the second year?
Yes. So it's only available in the masters. To do placement, you have to have completed all your year 1 units, so 8 units, and 3 of the year 2 units, and that gives you've met the prereqs. So it's always at the end of your second year, because you need those skills to go out on placement.
Great, thank you. And just looking to see if there's any others. So one question, if students would like to attend any of the webinars online this week, but they're unable to log in, will they be recorded? Yes, so all orientation sessions are being recorded. We send the email out. I can see another question around whether you can get that recording earlier than Friday. So they're loaded into your portal under the My Student Central tile earlier than Friday, but you'll get the email with the link to all the sessions on Friday. So just keep an eye out on your portal. The general session tonight will probably appear by Wednesday within the portal. And that's all. Thanks, Vicky.
Great. All right. Look, welcome everybody. If you're on the Melbourne campus at any time, I might see you. I think I'm the only one from Melbourne here. Congratulations, and I think reach out if you need anything at all. Just reach out. We're here to help. We're here to support you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Vicky. Thanks, Trish. Thanks,
So
everyone.
we're done. Good night,
Recording
everyone.
stopped.
Thanks, everyone.